In this video, I'm going to show you how to compute a Kaplan-Meier survival probability. The objective of doing this is to be able to estimate the probability of survival of a defined group at a designated time interval. Typical applications for the Kaplan-Meier survival probability are questions such as, do children who receive a full lunch attend class for more days than children who do not receive lunch? And what is the probability that a girl will attend school for 3 years? The Kaplan-Meier statistic is useful when you have two or more groups that you want to compare and find out who has the longest time in a program or receiving a treatment. The requirements for computing this is an Epi-Info software install, and I've given you the URL where you can download it, and then a database, and here I'm showing you a minimal set of variables in the database. The database needs to be in one of the formats that Epi-Info recognizes. Among them are Microsoft Access, DBase4. The example probability graph that you see here is included in order to show you where we're headed and how the eventual graph that is interpreted. You can see that what this will tell you is what percentage of children or cases survive at what point in time. In this example, we're using days, but you could use other lengths of time like years and months, whatever is appropriate for your data. So let's get started. We're going to begin our Kaplan-Meier survival analysis by reading in a database that I have created with the analyzed data portion of Epi-Info. We're going to read the database that is in DBase4 format. Our source, that's the database there, and we're going to say OK. One of the things I like to do is to list the data when I do this to make sure that what I have read in is what I intended to read in. In this case, it'll help us understand a little bit about the nature of the databases for the Kaplan-Meier analysis. We need the following information. We need whatever our comparisons are going to be. In this case, we have two countries. We have Bolivia and another country, Peru. And we're going to compare the survival curves for those two countries. For each case, we have a start date. This is the day that the case entered whatever program we're examining. And then we'll have an exit date. If the exit date is missing, then of course we have no length of time in the program, and we assume that the case is still active. In the Kaplan-Meier process, they refer to a variable that is the censored variable. Censored means that since this case is active, we have no termination date. An inactive case, such as this one here, has a termination date, so we can calculate the number of days that the case was, or the person was in the program. So once we're happy that we have the data that we want, we will go to the Kaplan-Meier Survival. We will pick the variable that is our censored variable. We will look for the value that is uncensored, which is I. I is inactive and we have a length of time for it, so it is considered uncensored. The time variable we have recorded as days, and we want the graph, the probability graph, to be labeled as days. The group variable is going to be country. If we had just one value in our variable, we get only one probability line drawn, but we have two in our set of data, so we're going to compare two countries, and the type of graph that we want in this case is the survival probability. Once we've indicated this data, we will click OK. It'll take a few seconds for the software to draw, and you can see we have our two lines. One line is for Peru and the other line is for Bolivia. Down here we get the information about whether the two lines are statistically different. In this case, because the values of P are greater than 0.05, we conclude that these two lines are not statistically different.